Gaming Bolt presents 16 best games with emergent gameplay. Emergent gameplay has been quite the topic over the years. The classic definition involves gameplay, quote, emerging from player agency as they exploit mechanics in ways the developers didn't intend. However, offering enough freedom to the player and unique systems for different possibilities to come about can also contribute to emergent gameplay. With that in mind, let's take a look at 15 of the best games that provide this unique form of entertainment. Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World was one of the more enticing releases of January 2018, and it took the franchise to all new heights. Despite the heavy online nature of Monster Hunter World, the game had a completely dynamic and emergent single-player campaign, along with tons of things to do, like joining squads, taking on hunts, side quests, crafting, and bounties. The developers made a complex ecosystem where different monsters influence each other along with the players, resulting in vastly different experiences every time. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain's open world was okay, and not exactly a shining example of the genre. However, where it delivered was in the number of ways players could exploit the systems to crazy effect. Guards could be distracted with inflatable decoys, players could surf down slopes with boxes, collapse towers on top of enemies, and the list goes on and on. The sheer variety in tackling objectives, whether through pure stealth or crazy ingenuity, also made up for the conclusion. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild has been criticized for not having the same stellar dungeon design as previous titles. Where it makes up for this is in its systemic gameplay and the moments that emerge from this. Imagine invading a camp of enemies by riding on a boulder's stored momentum, or setting fire to grass around a Lynel to parachute up and shoot it with arrows in slow motion. That's not taking into account the variety of ways to complete dungeons, like shield surfing to double jump up ledges, connecting electrical circuits with your equipment, and so on. Far Cry 5. The Far Cry series has usually been about doing things your way. If you want to invade a base with guns blazing, then go for it. If you want to be super stealthy and assassinate everyone, thy blade, or baseball bat, beckons. Far Cry 5 adds on to the already ridiculous ways to interact with things in the world by a huge margin, with the fangs or guns for hire clearing a path through swaths of enemies, using vehicles to smash through bases, and a healthy dosage of explosives. Far Cry 5 offers tons of freedom in completing these objectives. Hitman 2016. Many Hitman fans took umbrage with the 2016 title's episodic approach and always-online nature. What they loved was the sheer depth of options available for assassinating targets. Each map has a multitude of solutions available. You'll disguise yourself as chefs and models, drop chandeliers, poison or lure targets into secluded settings to kill them, and then attempt to destroy the evidence and escape. The sheer variety in alternate objectives, enemy layout, and targets helps keep the experience fresh while further expanding your assassinating imagination. Grand Theft Auto 5. Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto 5 has fulfilled so much of its potential as a sandbox game that it's not even funny. The resulting gameplay is ridiculous. Players have discovered a specific area where normal bicycles can super jump into the sky, attempted to pass through the whole sign via skydiving, and engaged in numerous wars with the cops. And that's not even discussing the variety that's emerged from heists, races, deathmatch, building one's criminal enterprise, and even the base game. The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Skyrim has set quite a few standards with regards to open-world gameplay. While many of its aspects are fixed, like quest structure, dialogue, and the plot, there are a number of elements left up to the player. You can craft armor and weapons that outright break the game from the beginning. Alternatively, you can pluck out the hearts of Briarhearts by pickpocketing from them. Maybe you just want to follow a character on foot and see what happens, or read all the books in the game. The sheer potential of builds, even if you just go stealth archer. Enemies that can interact with each other, and outright depth is amazing even by today's standards. Terraria. Considered a side-scrolling version of Minecraft, Terraria is definitely its own thing. Depending on which enemies spawn, random events, NPCs, and procedurally generated worlds, different players will have different experiences. You could embark on a dungeon crawl and discover better weapons, or simply build a house and improve it forever with decorations, fortifications, and whatnot. To say nothing about the various items, contraptions, and bosses that'll spice things up. Dwarf Fortress. There are difficult games that take on their own identities, and then there's Dwarf Fortress. This insane game has the player constructing a fortress and influencing a friendly cavalcade of dwarves toward success. From there, things take a turn for the bizarre. Dwarves infected by viruses and attacking their friends, raids with elephants committing murder, a mysterious quiver that kills anyone who tries to pick it up, and the Hamlet of Tyranny, which is an insane epic that could rival other fantasy tales. Dwarf Fortress may have an insurmountable learning curve, but its emergent gameplay is top tier. RimWorld. Much like Dwarf Fortress, RimWorld provides a basic outline and huge learning curve, but ultimately opens up in terms of possibilities. Each of your colonists has a distinctive personality, and scenarios like turning prisoners of war into brutal war machines, effectively watching your colony go mad and eat each other, and so on, can happen. Even better are the inclusion of AI storytellers who can either increase the difficulty of negative events or gleefully cause random things, both good and bad, to happen. S.T.A.L.K.E.R. The S.T.A.L.K.E.R. series may be infamous for its bugs, but the variety and sheer life of the world is incredible. You could become a bounty hunter and explore the world, or simply sell artifacts to outfit yourself. Heck, it's possible to drop your weapons for NPCs to run off with. That group of bandits who tried to kill you may ask for your help on a different playthrough, and subsequently face their demise down the road. It may not be the most intuitive experience, but S.T.A.L.K.E.R.'s gameplay is uniquely compelling. Just Cause 3. If you ever wanted to surf on a fighter jet or tangle up numerous cars causing them to explode, then Just Cause 3 is for you. Perhaps you'd envy just wingsuiting around, grappling from building to building and hoisting enemies or civilians with your grappling hooks. It doesn't quite have the fun world of its predecessor, especially when sheer content is concerned, but it's still a compelling sandbox with real-time destruction and an enormous number of ways to play. Watch Dogs 2. Unlike the first game, choice is a pretty big factor of Watch Dogs 2. The open world sandbox encourages you to go in, fists flying, or safely hack from a distance to manipulate drones and security systems. And that's not counting the various little things you can do, like hacking and remote piloting a car, enabling bollards to stop pursuing vehicles, and much more. The freedom in completing missions and garnering followers to progress is also an improvement over the good old Ubisoft Tower approach. Assassin's Creed Origins. Though Assassin's Creed Origins doesn't exactly lend itself to stealthy gameplay, whether it's due to the movement of Bayek or level advantages of stronger enemies, it's still brimming with things to do. The emergent part comes from different factions battling each other. If Bayek doesn't interfere, these incidents will just see the AI doing its thing. Other things, like hallucinations when Bayek is dehydrated or being ambushed by bounty hunters called Phylax, also mix up the gameplay. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. The first game introduced the Nemesis system, wherein the player would develop various nemesis and either kill or brainwash them into sleeper agents. Middle-earth: Shadow of War takes the concept even further, with forts to conquer with unique obstacles, orc followers who will stay loyal, or even betray you if they're let down, and a whole myriad of different nemesis that can be created. It's incredibly complex, but still very accessible. You'll never really know what to expect in a single playthrough. Dishonored 2. Though it may seem like a straightforward stealth game, Dishonored 2 presents a pretty large array of sneaking, stabbing, slicing, exploding, and deviousness for players. It expands on the first game's options, allowing you to link enemies together and kill them simultaneously, or shadow walk and crawl through crevices to avoid them. Each level is a playground, brimming with objects to manipulate, and with 2 playable characters, you have even more ways to dismantle your foes.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.